In today's video, going to be kind of asking the question and trying to answer the question. Probably you'll see the question of the title of the video, and that is, was WrestleMania 34 that bad or actually bad? Now, of course, don't know if I would give you guys by the end of this video, give you guys a for sure answer, but the reason why I wanted to do this sort of video was because it is a WrestleMania that is talked about a lot by fans, and even by fans, of being possibly one of the worst WrestleManias in WWE and possibly recent memory, of course, of the 2010s decade and probably altogether in the history of WWE. But the reason why another sort of reason why or that I am doing this video is also because this WrestleMania show holds a special place in my heart, is because I went to this WrestleMania. This WrestleMania was, of course, the second one. WrestleMania 30 was the first one to be in New Orleans. Now, I was not big as a wrestling fan when back, I believe 2014 was WrestleMania 30. So it was around this time, coming into 2018, 2017 is when I kind of started getting into being a wrestling fan and started watching WWE a lot, that I went to this show. The tickets were a surprise Christmas present from my parents. From my parents, I went with my dad and a couple of my friends as well, and it was a great time. It was a great experience. But of course, looking back at it, and even though I did have a great time, and I do remember a little bit that happened, I know it's been a while. But of course, over time, you've seen, of course, this WrestleMania be talked about as probably not one of the best WrestleManias in, like I said before, in recent memory or in the history of WWE. So I kind of want to go back through WrestleMania 34, kind of go through really some of the good that happened on this show, but mostly the sort of bad of why this show is dubbed as probably one of the worst WrestleManias by a lot of fans. Or not their favorite WrestleMania, I should say. But before we get into the video, again, welcome to the BrewCrew channel, everybody. If you guys are new to the channel or haven't yet here on the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. I do wrestling content like this. I do football as well for LSU and Saints. So if you guys are fans of those type of contents, this is definitely the channel for you. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. Now again, this was a special WrestleMania for me. Back in 2018, 2017 was really when I started like watching wrestling. I knew about wrestling, I want to say probably 2014. I knew about wrestling because a friend of mine, I used to always go over to his house. And me and him always played the video games like 2K14 and 2K15. I think was like the two games we played a lot. 2K14 specifically, I believe I remember, we played a lot, and we did like wrestle each other on his trampoline in his backyard a couple times. But I was never really into watching it, mostly because I don't even think my mom and dad probably also know this, so they'll probably find out with them watching this. So I was too afraid to watch it because I didn't know what my mom and dad would think about me watching wrestling. So I was nervous a little bit, and then just random day in the summer of 2017, this was a little bit after WrestleMania 33, I just decided to myself on a Monday night, I was like, I'll check out Raw. I go to USA, and yeah, and they're gonna. This is kind of weird for me to even say this. I was so nervous about what my mom and dad, especially my dad, would say. I don't know why, even though they ended up being cool about it. I would always change the channel every time my dad would come into my room or heard them. And then just one day I forgot to change the channel, and he saw that I was watching it, and I don't remember what he said or what happened. And I was just like, okay. And from that point on, I just continued to watch every Monday Night Raw, every SmackDown when I could. And then, of course, I don't know when it was that I started trying to keep up with NXT, but of course I couldn't watch the episodes because I didn't have WWE Network. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get back. I know that went off on something a little bit there. But of course, later on, seeing that WrestleMania is going to be back in New Orleans for WrestleMania 34, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I never really wanted to go, or like wanted to not force, but like tell my mom and dad like, hey, they're having this show, WrestleMania show, and of course, like knowing me, it's like it's the biggest show, so it's going to be pretty expensive to go. But I did mention it to them, I think, at some point, and it was a surprise Christmas gift to me, and my friend, his name is Lawson, who I talked about earlier. Me, him, and another friend of ours from middle school. We and with my dad, we went to WrestleMania. We went to New Orleans to WrestleMania, and of course, like I said before, it was a great time. But of course, enough about not really enough, but anyway, but really, of course, that's just sort of a little bit of why the show kind of is special to me a little bit, even though it is a show that a lot of people sort of hate on because of how it was. And we'll get to that. And so let's just kind of go ahead and get into the show. We'll go ahead and start off with the kickoff show stuff because there is a lot of stuff that really happened in the kickoff show that, of course, really is an interesting thing. So kind of to quickly go through, we're not going to go deep into the matches, but we're going to go through real quick. The kickoff show, of course, had 3 matches. It had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is a traditional sort of kickoff show match that they always did at WrestleMania. They had the vacant Cruiserweight Championship title on the line, which was Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali, and the first ever Women's Battle Royal, which was WWE doing a sort of women's version of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I think they changed it because I think it was like the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, and then they for some reason just changed it to the Women's Battle Royal, WrestleMania Battle Royal. I don't know why. I just remember that they changed the name. But first for the Battle Royals, to not really say much really that I can remember from the Women's Battle Royal, but the first ever winner of this Battle Royal was Naomi, and sort of a shocking ending because I think I remember the final, what we thought was the final 2 was Sasha Banks, who's Mercedes Moné right now, and Bayley. Bayley did the shocker because they had the thing going on between the two of like they're best friends, but they almost like one of them was turning heel or whatever, I don't know. And she eliminates Sasha, but for some reason Naomi during the match was not eliminated properly. She comes back into the ring, eliminates Bayley, she goes on to win the Battle Royal. But the Men's Battle Royal will probably be something that I will probably never forget. So Matt Hardy went on to win this match. But the final 3 was him, Mojo Rawley, and Baron Corbin. And if you guys don't remember, those 2 guys were the previous 2 years' winners. Baron Corbin back at WrestleMania 32, and then the year prior, WrestleMania 33, was Mojo Rawley. So one of them was going to be number 2. They were sort of teaming up on Matt Hardy so they could battle out to see who becomes a 2-time Rumble winner. But I don't know why I still vividly remember this to this day. Me and my dad, I think we're standing or sitting, I can't remember, but we're like focusing on this match, like, oh my goodness, like who's going to win? Like, are we going to see a 2-time winner? And for some reason, out of nowhere, if you guys remember this happening, like watching it, not like what I'm about to say, but like I'm sitting next to my dad, and there's some guys sitting behind us, and me and Dad heard a guy just scream, Bray Wyatt, and the lights go out. Bray Wyatt's thing happened. Bray Wyatt's in the ring and helps Matt Hardy, and of course that was the interesting thing because them 2 were having a feud with each other, and now all of a sudden Bray Wyatt comes to help Matt Hardy win the Battle Royal, and of course there was when the Deleters of Worlds is what they went on to become, the tag team that they went on to become. But I just remember, and I remember my dad like turning around and like high-fiving the guy because he just called it. Like I still vividly remember that to this day every time when I think of this Battle Royal. But I don't want to say much about the Battle Royal because, I mean, right now at this point, the Battle Royal doesn't even mean anything. All it is just an accomplishment now instead of just whatever. But really the breakout thing that a lot of fans probably would have been okay with it being on the main show was the match between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight title. Now, the Cruiserweight title was vacated because the previous champion was a wrestler named Enzo Amore. And he got into some controversy outside the ring to where WWE had to vacate the title off of him and they had a big time tournament. Excuse me, with the cruiserweights on their own little show that they had called 205 Live. Each week they had big matches happening. The final two came down to Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, the championship on the line and at WrestleMania. And with it being a kickoff show, it was an amazing match between the two. Of course, Alexander came out on top, becoming the new champion. So, all in all, it was a fun kickoff show, and I was glad definitely to sort of watch it. But now on to the main show, which is going to kind of be weird a little bit, because the main show, if you look at the first two matches specifically of this show, it started off pretty good. It started off pretty good for this WrestleMania. The first match was the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz. And I do want to say one thing that I do remember from WrestleMania vividly a lot is the entrances, especially Seth Rollins' entrance and Finn Balor's. Just screaming "burn it down" when Seth Rollins came down, and then doing Finn Balor's thing in the crowd was such an amazing thing to do. And of course, even seeing it live and rewatching it, like, I literally actually watched this match, like, I think earlier this morning is when I watched it. Still an amazing triple threat match. Of course, a lot of fans have it up there. As probably one of the best WrestleMania opening matches in the history of the show. And of course, Seth Rollins went on to win, became a Grand Slam champion, winning the Intercontinental title. But the next match was the big time dream match at the time. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Asuka coming off of winning the first ever women's Royal Rumble. She was also having her undefeated streak. She, of course, was down in NXT, was NXT Women's Champion for over 500 days, never lost, had to relinquish the title when she got called up to Raw, and, of course, moved over to SmackDown to challenge Charlotte to, of course, put together this dream match. And, of course, it kind of is shocking that this was the second match of the show, when this probably could have been higher up on the card, really, but the match was great. The only thing that, I don't want to discard the match. The only thing that I just didn't really like, and I kind of still don't like to this day because of Asuka's history at WrestleMania, because she is still winless at WrestleMania, which is shocking because of how big of a name she is, still technically with WWE, but has not been very successful at WrestleMania, was her not winning this match against Charlotte. Now, I can understand because of course there was probably also the situation with Carmella, who was another women's wrestler on SmackDown who had the women's Money in the Bank contract and had yet to cash in. And of course, we all know on the SmackDown after the show, she would cash in on Charlotte to win the SmackDown Women's title. So, don't know if that would have happened with Asuka, but still, to this day, I still sort of say Asuka should have won this match. Of course, there was a special moment between the two that they showed respect after the match. Again, the match was really great. Definitely go watch it if you haven't watched it. It's a really great women's match. Definitely lived up to the hype. Not a bad match. It's just, of course, for me, kind of the match not fell short for me because Asuka didn't lose, but still, again, great match. But then we moved to the other mid-card title, which was in a multi-man match, the United States Championship match. Shockingly enough, if you guys do not remember, Randy Orton was the United States champion. That is right. He won the championship at the previous pay-per-view Fastlane against Bobby Roode so he could become a Grand Slam champion, even though it was a short reign. But still, speaking of Bobby Roode, he was in this match along with Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Now, this honestly was not a bad Fatal 4-Way, but it's sort of the same thing as the previous match, like I said. The match was great. Of course, the entrances were great. Being there, seeing Randy Orton's entrance, singing Bobby Roode's theme song, and then Rusev. If you guys do not remember 2018 Rusev and the Rusev Day stuff, oh my gosh, it was probably one of the most over things I've ever seen in WWE, and will probably still to this day. And I knew how over Rusev. Technically, me going to the show got me into really with Rusev Day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know who I really had winning this match in the first place, and then when I was seeing all the fans, just because fans were chanting Rusev Day before this match, and even after the match they were chanting Rusev Day. That's how over Rusev Day was over, and it was just oh my goodness. Like, I still vividly remember, like, me and my dad outside of the stadium, like, we're walking towards the stadium. I think about to, like, walk in the entrance or whatever. I'm just hearing random fans, Rusev Day! Rusev Day! And I'm just like, what? Okay. And then, of course, I'm saying Rusev Day during the entrance with Aiden English. But everything kind of went down when Jinder Mahal won. And, of course, we know his reign was short because then he went on to lose it to Jeff Hardy, like, 2 weeks later. I will still never understand the push that WWE Vince McMahon were trying to do with Jinder Mahal. And this match along with the previous match, but I'm more with this because like I'm kind of at the point with the previous match, like, okay, it's fine, what is what is. This match, not so much. This match, Rusev should have won this match because of how over he was, and because of just like the Rusev Day stuff. He should have won the match, but spending too much long on these matches and on that all that. But Rusev should have won this match. Jinder Mahal should not have won it. That's all I really gotta say. But the match was good. The match was fine. Not a bad match. Just the ending was horrible. And we continue to go good a little bit. We then have the interesting mixed tag team match. The then Raw General Manager Kurt Angle and the new debut, making her WWE in-ring debut, Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, the power couple, the powerful couple of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And what was a shocking, like, I don't remember much of like my reaction when I watched it live, but like when I've rewatched this match was actually shockingly good. Because for some reason, when Kurt Angle and Triple H were in the ring, they turned back the time back to 2000, 2002, or 2001, or whatever year you want to say, or 1999, whatever. Whenever they had a big feud with each other, they turned back the clock, and they were great. Ronda was great. Shockingly enough, Stephanie McMahon was good. Sorry if I didn't, but she was good. She was good enough to at least have this match still be enjoyable and good. And of course, she was the one that got tapped out with the armbar, and of course we know what happened with Ronda Rousey after this point, with her time with WWE, I should say. But again, shocking match, really good match. If you've never seen this match, definitely go watch it. It's a really good watch. It's a really good, fun watch. But we continue with some multi-people or multi-team for this one with the triple threat match for the SmackDown tag titles, the Usos, the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers, which was Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Rest in peace, Luke Harper. Sadly, this was apparently, now that I'm thinking about it, one of his only, his and I believe Eric Rowan's as well, appearances on a main card. Well, actually, no. Luke Harper did have one at WrestleMania 31, but this was one of his last WrestleManias, like being on the main card. And it's glad to look back at it and see that they got the win. The match was okay. It was definitely quick because it was just dominated by Rowan and Harper, because that's like what the team they were, and like they were the right team to win. And shockingly enough, this was like one of the first times we finally saw the Usos on a main card at WrestleMania, and sort of the New Day as well, being in a tag team championship and not in like a six-man like they were back in WrestleMania 32. So honestly, it was really good, especially to see the Usos and the New Day being on a main show for the main card for WrestleMania, and seeing Harper and Rowan win, especially, of course, with what we know that happened to Harper after, of course, Luke Harper, Brody Lee, or John Hubert, I believe was his real life name. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Of course, passed away a few years ago, so definitely sad. But at least we can kind of look back, and he had a big WrestleMania moment, getting a WrestleMania win with Rowan. So yeah. But again, match was pretty good. Okay, kind of short and kind of quick though. But it was a fun quick match though. But sadly, I kind of want to say sadly, the first sort of like downhill thing that happened for this WrestleMania, and that was the first time ever WrestleMania match between The Undertaker and John Cena. This was a match, even with me not even being a year of watching wrestling, knew that this match was big. The build-up was interesting. John Cena was calling out Undertaker when The Undertaker technically was retired because he lost to Roman the year before at WrestleMania 33, but John Cena, wanting to have an opportunity to to fight at WrestleMania was calling out The Undertaker, saying all this stuff about Undertaker. And if you also remember, there was the thing where he literally sat in the crowd as a fan. And I believe it was after, I think it was after the Asuka and Charlotte match, a ref came to him, said, I think telling him, like, hey, The Undertaker's here, ran to, like, the ring, over the barricade, to up the ramp, and to backstage to go get ready. Well, I wish they could have done something different now that I'm thinking about it. And most of the only thing I can kind of think of, especially before the match, they should not have done was the thing with Elias. I don't know why they did that, thinking back at it. But finally saw The Undertaker. That is probably a moment I will never forget. Like, being in the crowd, hearing the bells of The Undertaker, and just seeing him walk down the ramp, even though I was like higher in the stadium, but it was still so cool to see, especially from that high up, just like, oh my god, it's The Undertaker, and being excited for this match. And then I just remember, like, when the match was going, and then seeing him hit the tombstone, and then you get 1, 2, 3, and then after the match I was like, oh, what? I was like excited, I was like almost excited Undertaker won, but then I was just like confused and then sort of sad because, like, the match was just short. And I was just like, what? And, like, I know this was, like, this of course is part, if you know my What If series that I do, I know I've taken forever to try to finish it. There's the part where I do go over WrestleMania 34 in one of my videos. I keep this match on the show, but I change it to have a longer, like, 5 or 10 minutes. This was like a minute or two. If they would have gone closer to maybe 5, maybe close to 10 minutes, the match probably would have been fine, and, like, we would probably think different about this match. But no. The only offense we saw from John Cena was him trying to do his comeback and was about to do the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then Undertaker did his sit-up, and after that chokeslam tombstone, that was the match. And it was just like great experience. Like, it went from great experience seeing The Undertaker in, like, entrance, and then seeing Undertaker and John Cena in the same ring, and then the match happens, like, oh my goodness, and then, like, once the match ended, like I said, I don't really know, but I think I remember I was just kind of like, what? I think confused, but, like, I'm probably just saying, like that's probably how I felt, but it was just like, I mean, thinking back at it now, it's just like they should have done something more with this match. Not too much more, but, like, a little longer of a match. But it just is what it is. But it kind of goes back to a high a little bit with the tag team match. I know there's a little bit of people that probably think they could not have done a tag team match with this, but I think with just the story that they told, it was right to do a tag team match. That, of course, is the tag team match with the team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Shane McMahon, and the in-ring return of Daniel Bryan, who at the time both men were the commissioner of SmackDown and the general manager, Shane being the commissioner and Daniel Bryan being the GM, but he was no longer the GM after WrestleMania, since he was back to full in-ring competition, which was a great moment because, of course, I had never really seen much of Daniel Bryan, like, in-ring, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. And so just seeing that, of him saying that he was, like, healthy enough or in remission of, like, to come back and wrestle after his many years of neck injuries and concussions, and it was just so great to see it. And, like, this entrance as well is probably something I will never forget. Just, like, especially doing it with my dad and my friends, and just doing the yes chants in the stadium, and even seeing all the fans, like, that's going to be a moment I'll never forget. I still remember to this day every time I think of it. And the match was, honestly, I don't think this was a bad tag team match. It was interesting enough because, like, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, their entrance happens. They attack Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, and they attack Daniel Bryan, like, rough enough to where, like, it makes us fans think, like, oh my goodness, now he's injured again or something. So it was literally Shane McMahon versus them in a handicap match. Then finally Daniel Bryan came back in. And mostly what it was only one tag, I think, by Shane and Bryan, really. Because I think the one tag was Daniel Bryan when he came back, and then it was just, like, sort of a 2-on-1 with Daniel Bryan and Owens. but Daniel Bryan was able to get the win over Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the stipulation was if Zayn and Owens win, they are rehired with SmackDown because they were technically fired after first attacking Shane McMahon brutally and then being fired by Daniel Bryan. They attacked him, and then of course that led to the tag team match, and all that. But not a bad tag team match, so sort of back to good a little bit on the card. Same thing with the Raw Women's Championship match, which was Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. This mostly was built up because, of course, the two were allies, friends, and mostly what happened was like Alexa Bliss mostly not only turned on Nia, she full on just like was just bullying her because of like Nia's size and her weight and all that, and that built to this match, and of course it built to a pretty good WrestleMania moment for Nia Jax winning the championship. The match was definitely short, but it was entertaining, especially when I like rewatch it. Not being there live. Of course, it was a great moment seeing that like super Samoa drop by Nia to Alexa to get her the win. But her winning the title finally and getting her WrestleMania moment was definitely cool to see. So yeah. But after that, sort of everything continues to go full on rock bottom for the next three matches. I mean, honestly, for the next match, which was the WWE Championship match, I'm sort of up and down about it. I know a lot of fans do not like this match because of how it underperformed, and of course, their recent match against each other. I'm talking about AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, their match for the WWE title. They had a much better match than this match back at Saturday Night's Main Event earlier this year. That made up for this match. But honestly, like even when I rewatch it, the match kind of has some pretty good moments in it. But I do agree with one thing. This is another match on this card that I will probably say to this day, Shinsuke should have won this match. Even if the match was not great and still went on to not be great, like called great or said not as good as like their match from Wrestle Kingdom, because they had an amazing match. I think the previous year or 2 years ago, I can't remember, at Wrestle Kingdom with New Japan, which is the Japanese wrestling company that they were both a part of, and they had a big match, and it was like one of the biggest matches of the year, best matches of the year. And there was a lot of hype. Nakamura was coming off of winning the Royal Rumble. Styles has been in the middle of an amazing run as world champion in his second reign as WWE champion. But they had Styles win, which was shocking because I did have Nakamura, but I was still happy because like I loved AJ Styles at this point, and he was like one of my favorite wrestlers still to this day, even with him retired and all that. But it was just it was definitely shocking a little bit. And then of course they had Shinsuke turn heel, and it was just like, okay, but even with him turning heel, they still never put the title on him, which is still like I'm definitely also a Shinsuke fan, and I'm one of those Shinsuke fans that is like they should have put the title on him either at this WrestleMania, or they should have put the title on him when he was in the middle of his heel run. Sorry if I'm getting heated a little bit. I get heated sometimes with some of this stuff. But yeah, I'm up and down about the match. The match, I think, in my opinion, wasn't bad. Is it one of the best WWE Championship Mania matches? No. It definitely was disappointing. It was okay. Kind of underperformed to people's expectations. But also, if that still was the solution to this match, not solution, but still the outcome of this match, Nakamura should have won. If this match was still disappointing or whatever. This video is sort of being long, but I kind of thought it would have been. But anyway, this next match, it's crazy thinking about it now, and even crazy about like thinking back at it when I was being live in the stadium. The Raw Tag Team Championship match. Cesaro and Sheamus, Claudio of course is Cesaro, were the team called The Bar. They were at this point one of the best teams on the tag team roster, on the Raw roster and in WWE. They were one of the best tag teams, and like they had been a tag team for like a little bit over a year or so. And so they have been an amazing tag team up to this point. and Strowman was trying to find his way on this card. He wins a battle royal, a tag team battle royal, with no partner. And the build up to this match was, who is his partner going to be? And everybody's thinking like, oh, it's going to be a returning. A lot of people even thought it was going to be Bray Wyatt, but I think that got thrown out the window when Bray Wyatt returned in the kickoff show. So it was just like, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? Lo and behold, Braun Strowman comes out with his entrance, and he grabs the mic, and he says he wants to do... I can't remember what he said, but I just remember him screaming, "Who wants to be my tag team partner?" And literally goes into the crowd. I don't even know whose idea this was. If this was Braun Strowman's idea, or if this was his idea. Talking about another person, or someone in WWE Creative was like, you know what would be amazing for a WrestleMania match is if Braun Strowman goes and picks a kid. But here's an interesting thing about the kid that he picked, which the kid's name is Nicholas. I have no idea where he is today. The kid is the son of a referee. So I don't know if it was the referee's idea to try to put his son in a wrestling match and win. They won, mind you. They won this match, which is another shocking thing, and had to relinquish the titles the next day on Raw because this is a kid who's in school. You can't be a champion or anything. I don't even know how old he was. He, like, if you look at it, he's probably like, I don't even want to say 10. He's probably younger than that, probably around 10. But it's like, and like, I don't even remember that much about the match, really. I don't remember that much. But yeah, not to get too much more into that, that happened at WrestleMania, and then it just went rock bottom after that for the main event. Mostly just because a lot of fans, and it was hard for me being there because I've said this before, I think I've said this before on my channel, I was a big Roman Reigns fan even during his big dog days when I started watching. You know, I was a fan of Roman. I was probably one of the only fans in the WWE universe, of the rest of the fans of the WWE universe that liked Roman, but didn't hate him or anything, you know, but liked him, but didn't like people hated him. I mostly kind of got over and was just like, I don't care at this point. I still like him because and all that. And I will still say this to this day, even if people were still going to boo the ending of the match, Roman should have won this match because they should not have kept the title on Brock because of, I think it was out of the ring, outside of stuff that happened. I think it was something with UFC of him potentially going back to UFC or something, Brock. And I think Vince didn't like that, had him win the match because there's also the footage of him literally throwing the Universal title to Vince when he walked backstage. And mostly the match itself was not great, and it's mostly is overshadowed by just how bad the build-up was and just how bad, like, and also just how bad fans didn't pay attention. But I think I do remember fans playing with a beach volleyball, and I'm pretty sure that's what fans do. If they do not want to watch a match that WWE does, and mostly that was the other thing that they were running Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again at WrestleMania, when this was technically the second time at WrestleMania, which is sort of another thing. I'm like, well, here's the thing. This was only the second time they were running Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar back at WrestleMania. So it's not like they had done it before or anything, you know, but I don't know. There's just a lot that happened. And so, yeah, that's WrestleMania 34. I kind of don't want to make this video much longer. This is probably one of my longest videos that I've done. But I kind of wanted to talk about WrestleMania 34. Again, like I said before, it was mostly just because this was a special one for me because I went to this one live. And yeah. But is it one of the worst WrestleManias, or is it bad? I mean, I would say yes. It's definitely one of the bad WrestleManias, but it's a WrestleMania that has a lot, that I don't want to say a lot, that has good matches, but it's just overshadowed by the bad main event, really. By the bad main event and other bad matches, you know, and other bad matches and bad booking. But there's good matches, I would probably almost say great matches, and decently watchable matches, I would say. You know, but the main event is what really stalled. The main event, mostly the final three matches, is what stalls out this show of being a big time WrestleMania. Like, a lot of fans do say, like, WrestleMania 34 could have had potential to be a top tier WrestleMania, mostly due to possibly AJ Styles and Nakamura, and maybe if Roman and Brock had a better build and a potential better match, and if fans actually focused and pay attention. Because I didn't really like that. I didn't really like that when I saw it, and thank goodness I had a different experience of a Lesnar and Roman main event when I went to see their last man standing match at SummerSlam 2022. So, and fans were actually enjoying that one because it was the character change, really, but still. Anyway, like I said before, but honestly, this is not the worst WrestleMania of, like, technically of the decade that it was in. It was in the 2010s. Really the worst WrestleMania, a lot of fans would say, specifically of the 2010s of this decade alone, is WrestleMania 27. Not going to get much into it because this video is already long and my throat is killing me from talking and sort of screaming and yelling of being mad still to this day of some of the matches and some of the stuff that happened on this show. Now, yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Again, just a special WrestleMania because of me going in person to see it. So, yeah. Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments down below of this show and the stuff that I said as well with this show as well. If you agree with what I've said, if you agree with some of the matches or anything like that, or where you have this show, if you actually think this show is one of the worst or whatever, let me know in the comments down below. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, I know it's probably one of my longest ones I've done, but again, I really wanted to do a video like this, and since we're on the road to WrestleMania, kind of cool to do it. But anyway, like I said before, if you guys made it all this way to the point of the video, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to breathe. I've been talking for so long. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. And again, let me know y'all's thoughts on the show and on the matches and everything else in the comments down below. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Ow, I just hit my elbow on my desk. Peace.